So I will talk about why comics, as you see in front of the screen, you actually can transform mindsets and even behavior if we design and program well of the people, regarding to gender equity, sexual harassment. This was very sensitive issue and lately, Vietnam is facing. So if you look in front of a screen, this comics in having a picture is not the full screen, but it's a picture of the nurse who's interviewed about is that any sexual harassment at your workplace? And when she think about job loss, her answer is we never had sexual harassment. And the funny part of a comic, of course, was saying that this girl looking good and also smart. I need to promote her. So the funniest part in this here is to make the story a little intense. But in fact, this is one of the situations we're facing in so many projects and initiatives by government, companies, association, because number of projects spending a large money for interview. But at the moment of interview, people don't really want to show their truth, thought, or opinion or perception. Because as you see, there's the pressure. They say the victim hesitate to speak out about gender-based violence and sexual harassment as it's not see no trustworthy source of protection in place for them in terms of job security, fair pay, equal work opportunity. So why no poor organization why intervention in a form of actionable policy, regulation, and system exist? Plenty of employers are not even aware of their own situation, resulting in incorrect assumption and wrong follow-up decision on gender equity or anti-harassment. So, with this picture, our message is pretty clear. Please stop spending money on massive survey. We actually many ways of actually engage victim or people to transform their mindset with comics would basically is much more cost effective and of course effective. With this comic, it's a funny story, but we actually get it back from this case of Nike a couple of years ago. If you see the story of every company, multinational companies, in Vietnam, a lot of big company and small company having code of conduct about anti-sexual harassment, among so many other code of conduct. But the pictures say that, and back to the case of Nike, isn't say code of conduct and anything happening, you go and you report victim, got to report to HR manager. Because HR manager handled all misconduct and sexual harassment, except CEO, because CEO is the one who signed this code of conduct. So this is really something that happening, but it's very much dependent on the way that the technical intervention, the corporate governance, and how to actually manage a relationship between decision taker and decision maker. How's it truly is going on in one organization? And if you think about this, all organizations of the whole country would be able to go in the right direction. That could be very good intervention. That society don't have to think so much about stigma or communication and public media, but the changing can come very from within. And lastly is the comics that we very much interested because there's so many cases we handling in Vietnam with big and small and medium company. Because when the definition, perception about what is sexual harassment, how to actually find it, sexual harassment in the workplace, how to write a policy about it, how to actually execute it. So it's the true situation happening with so many cases that there are so many women who take advantage of the situation and in many ways try to provide false accusation. For example, in this case, that both men and women, they run for CEO, but then she just say, oh, he's sexual harassment. He's a sexual harasser. Yesterday, he touched my thigh when we're meeting. He's touched my shoulder and he's, do something when we're working, or he did that 3 months ago, 6 months ago, even 3 years ago, but with no evidence. But the truth when the situation happening and what all the guidance giving out right now doesn't matter what is happening, and the evidence scale is one of hardest because false accusation is that better toleration of sexual harassment work. However, traces of evidence to prove that what behaviors are right or wrong remain the biggest challenge for any leader and organization of all sizes. Therefore, a reliable traceability and misconduct reporting, whistleblowing, sanctioning system would be a central of in organization intervention in gender equity and anti-sexual harassment. Because you don't want to see the pictures of fails charge and giving up down to people who get job loss and everything. So for example, with the three comics like this, we go into the very deep, what's going on in the community, a team, a project, a company, an organization. And that's how we would be able to change the mindset of people, actually how they would use comics and their training in their publicity. And most of the work, and sometimes we have a meeting of 10 minutes in every morning in some company with these small comics. So that's how actually over the past year, comics together with us will try to perform people mindset.